Howdy everyone, it's Sam. I hope you're all doing really well. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Christmas round in the NFL is upon us. It all kicks off Friday morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. There's a matchup that pits my team up against my co-host team here tonight. Mr. Entertain House, thank you so much for your time this evening, mate. It's always a busy time of year, but I'm very, very appreciative that you're joining me here tonight to talk some NFL, man.
Absolutely, man. I've been looking forward to it for weeks. I've been counting down. I circled the calendar when you said that date that our teams would be playing. The NFL is looking better than ever and closer than ever right now, so keen to break it down once again.
Yeah, man. So how have you gone tipping wise over the past couple of weeks, or maybe even just over the season, man? What kind of percentage do you reckon you're sitting at, bro?
I feel like compared to last season, I don't know if I mentioned it when I was on the podcast, but man, I was in like the top, I think 400 in the world last year, which is phenomenal. If I was to put that this year, I'd probably say maybe I'm in the top 5,000 out of the entire world, which is still good. So look, I feel like I'm sitting at probably about a maybe 70% strike rate. It's still pretty high, but compared to last year's that 90, 80% that I was just absolutely killing it. I haven't got any apps to like keep my tipping with me, but based on sports bet and things like that is how I've kept track and picked a few upsets here and there.
Yeah, man. And just behind closed doors, House, man, you've shown me a couple of the tips that you've put in, some of your multis, bro. And oh man, you've had a couple of near misses, man, and a couple of near wins as well, bro. Like, oh man, just to go on from that, this year's NFL season, bro. Do you think it's more crazier this year, or do you think it's just about on par from what we experienced last season, man?
Man, I'll tell you what, it's been a crazy season. It's been a great season, but I don't think it compares to last year. Last year was absolutely... And look, you want to promote your sport and say, this is the craziest season you have to watch. But if I'm talking about one of the craziest seasons I've ever seen, I think of last year. That's what last year was. I feel like there's more... You can tell the favorites from the pretenders and things, whereas last year was just such an open race. But in regards to those near misses... I feel like there's probably been some weeks where I've probably only gotten 7 or 8 games right. But I feel like for the most part, say there's 14 games in a week, I'm getting an average of about 10, 11 games right. And as you've seen, sometimes 13. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, man. So last week I went 11 correct tips. I got 5 incorrect tips. I reckon after last week or 2 weeks ago, I had me percentage dipped down a little bit. So I'm sitting at about 62% success rate in 2022. And I'm just, as you, man, as everybody is that's tuning into the NFL this year, it's been unfriggin' believable, mate. Yes.
How many games were there last week? Because I can tell you right now that I got 3 wrong.
Well, you did better than me then, man. So there were 16 games for the rest of the season. It's a full fixture, so 16 games across the weekend from now on.
Yeah, I went Dallas over Jaguars, which obviously went into overtime. Crazy comeback to be back from, I think it was 27-10. So crazy.
Yep.
I picked the Cardinals. I don't know why, because I knew Kyler Murray wasn't playing. But look, I thought the Cardinals would beat the Broncos. Close game. And then the other one I got wrong. I dead set thought Tennessee were going to do a job on the Chargers and show them just how pretenders they were. But the Chargers, they're still in the fight now for a playoff spot or a play-in tournament.
They certainly are, man. Now, just before we go on any further, just want to say hello to everyone that's come in. CJ Moxley, hey, man, how you going? Electrical Dust, thank you, bro. He's a Baltimore Ravens fan off the top of the old noggin, so thank you very much for coming in, dropping by and saying good day. So, look, we're going to do things a little bit out of order. Let's get the banter underway. So, while the round does kick off, on a Friday morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time, there is this matchup that pits my team up against House's team. The Seattle Seahawks are traveling to Arrowhead Stadium, and this is taking place. A lot of Christmas Eve games are taking place on the Saturday. So we've got the Thursday night football, and then you've got a whole bunch of Christmas Eve Saturday games as well, man. House, do you have the odds there for the Chiefs versus the Seahawks?
Yeah, the Seahawks are travelling to Arrowhead at $4.45, with the Chiefs going in as favourites $1.20. the bookies have this handicap line, which the Chiefs have actually failed to cover their line in the last couple games at 9.5. So if you like Seattle to lose the game by less than 10, you can get on that line. But if you like the Chiefs, then you're taking them as 10-point favourites.
So just a bit of history on these two sides. The last time that these two sides met was in 2018 in Seattle, and Seattle got the dub. But before then, Kansas City have the wood over the Seattle Seahawks big time. And the last time that the Seahawks actually won in Kansas City was in 1999, man. In 1999, bro. And so the history also going off of that too is that these two sides back when the Seahawks came in, they were NFC, and then the next year in their second ever season, they were a part of the AFC West. And so for 30 plus years, Kansas City and Seattle Seahawks were divisional rivals, man. But unfortunately, the ledger does lean in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs, bro. So favor does not look healthy for us. Now, there's a man that you touched on in the green room. There's a man that I really want to touch on in this contest, and I think you'll all know him very well. His name is Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, in 2021, by the end of the season, regular season, I should say, had 9 touchdowns, where in 2022, after 15 weeks, he's already sitting at 12 touchdowns. So he's already 3 better than what he was last year. And in 2021, he had 1,125 yards. After week 15 this year, he's over 1,140, man. So Tyreek Hill, he moved on to the Miami Dolphins. And Travis Kelce, he has obviously become the main man, besides Juju Smith-Schuster, for the wide receivers for the Chiefs. Travis Kelce, man, has gone to another level, in my opinion, bro.
Absolutely, on another level. He actually didn't score a touchdown in the game against the Texans the other day, but for the most part, Travis Kelce's been extremely consistent, been there for each game this season, I believe. I don't think he's missed one. But, yeah, you mentioned those stats. They're phenomenal, and probably one of the tight ends, or potentially the tight end of the year.
I agree with you right there, man. I do think he is at the moment the tight end of the year, man. Now, as far as news goes, Kadarius Toney, the wide receiver for Kansas City Chiefs, is suffering a hamstring complaint. He's already missed a couple of weeks. He could return. This is coming up. We're approaching a part of that month where hamstrings do become better, but we'll see what happens. Now, over on the flip side for the Seattle Seahawks, man, we're dealing with a huge bunch of injuries after we went down to the San Francisco 49ers in a tough battle. 21 points to 13, we went down. But the big one, mate, oh my God, Tyler Lockett is going to be out of this game with a broken finger, mate. Oh, dude, I know, man. And our running backs, both Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas, are out. So we're going to be coming at you with a third-string running back, bro. And then we've got a defensive tackle under the name of Brian Monet, who did his ACL in that game against the San Francisco 49ers, bro. So, oh, man, we got all the history and all the injury news up against us, bro. But, look, a question without notice. Seattle Seahawks, man, have they done better than what you had anticipated this year? Or do you think that since the Germany trip, do you think they're sort of coming back into where you predicted they would be at the start of the year, man?
Look, I'll tell you what, I think a lot of people really wrote Seattle off, putting them last or even like bottom 3. I think I had them around 10th, 12th. I actually had them as pushing towards a wild card spot, but maybe just missing out. So as far as where I put them, they're probably around that area. But as you mentioned, ever since that particular game, they started to look a little bit different. And I thought Geno Smith had that comeback player of the year award wrapped up, and he probably still could. But I feel like it's between him and Christian McCaffrey right now in regards to the comeback player of the year. But the Seattle Seahawks have had a phenomenal season. Even if they do lose every game from here on out, look at the season that they've had and some of the wins that they've grinded out. Games going in as underdogs and games traveling to other venues as well.
Now I've got and I've got an opinion on the Kansas City Chiefs, man, that I've been sort of squawking about for the past couple of weeks, bro. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as a Chiefs fan. The Chiefs, bro, they are not defeating the teams by the largest of margins that they really should be putting away, man. You mentioned the Texans, and there've been a handful of contests as well where the Chiefs just haven't been able to put away a lesser team, bro. Do you think that's more on the defensive side, or do you think the attack is something that needs to be worked on, bro?
I think the attack, for the most part, is fairly well. You're still seeing above 20 for each game this season. But as for that defense, it's really, really poor. And that's why I think this will be a very high-scoring game. I was actually looking at the total, and they've got the total at 49.5 points. So whether there'll be 50 or more. And look, I think both of these teams can definitely get within that type of margin scoreline. But yeah, I think the defense has been pretty woeful. I actually am very surprised to see that the Chiefs are kind of secondary favorites, same price as the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl at $6 at the moment. The Buffalo Bills, if you've missed it, are $4.50. They've been heavily favorited all season, but we're right up there. Look, we are a competitive team and playoffs, different team. We have, in my opinion, at the moment, the MVP, regular season MVP in Patrick Mahomes, but that might be a bit of bias. But at the same time, he's had a fantastic season. But yeah, that defense, it does need some work. And you mentioned against those lesser teams, we haven't really had that victory that sparked the team to just go, you know what, we've just won by 20, we've just won by 30. This is our run. Whereas teams like the Bengals are doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get to Cincinnati in a moment. So what's your tip, man? What can we expect with the Entertain House tip for the Chiefs versus Seahawks, man?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there's been some close encounters as of recent. You mentioned the injuries and the history might play with Seattle's head a little bit. I looked at that line. I thought the Seahawks could probably cover that 9.5. But look, the more and more I think about it, I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover the line of 9.5. It's a risky bet, but I'm going to go to the scoreline of 33-20. I think our defense is pretty poor for the most part. So I think about 2 touchdowns from the Seahawks. I'm going to say that Geno Smith throws 1 touchdown, and then the others are just kind of a rushing touchdown. So yeah, I'm going to go 33-20 in that game. So I like Kansas City to cover and over 49.5 points.
Yeah, look, I might be putting me money behind closed doors elsewhere, but I'll always back the boys in, bro. Seattle Seahawks, they can go down, but they're not going to win it in a defensive matchup. They're going to have to play ball out, bro. They're going to have to be involved in a shootout with the Kansas City Chiefs, man, and to try and battle that atmosphere, that sellout crowd down at Arrowhead on Christmas Eve, man. It's going to be a challenge, but the boys can do it, bro. They've proved a lot of people wrong, as you've said, to get to where they are. They're still in the hunt for a wild card spot, bro. So Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, bro, they gotta use everything that they've got in their arsenal. So I'm gonna go the Seattle Seahawks 1-12 in this game. Now, from now on, we're gonna go in chronological order, and this is huge. The following contest, bro. We've got the New York Jets hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars on Friday morning, Thursday night football, as it were. What are the odds for this one, House?
So the Jaguars go in as favourites to this game at $1.87, very close behind the New York Jets at $1.93. And the handicap is actually 0.5. So it's literally either team to win. It's a coin flip game. It's obviously being played in New York. And New York have only won 1 of their last 5 games, but the Jacksonville Jaguars have won 3 of their last 5 games. They've really turned their season around, the Jags.
Oh, it's been amazing what the Jaguars have been able to do, but conversely, the same with New York Jets, man. But the stat that goes against Jacksonville, bro, is that the Jaguars have not defeated the New York Jets at MetLife since the Jets have shifted out there to the Meadows, bro. So the Jaguars have never beaten the Jets at MetLife, but I do preference this, that they have gone to MetLife and defeated the Giants, but that's by the by. I so want to tip the New York Jets. They're on a 4-game losing streak at the moment, and I just think that it's prime time. The lights are on bright, and I think the run can come to an end. Surely there's going to be a win for the New York Jets before the season is out. And Jacksonville Jaguars, while they're in decent form, bro, they can still go like that, bro. They're still not as consistent as a Detroit Lions, for example, bro. And the reason why I'm really leaning towards the Jets, man, is that defense. It's proven. It's really, really good, man. It kept Buffalo at bay. It's kept them in games more often not than this season, man. What's your take on this contest, man?
Look, man, I have to agree with you. That Jets defense has proven that it can be really, really good. And you mentioned how hard it is for Jacksonville to win there at that stadium as well. But look, for me personally, I think I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I just think in recent weeks they've just been solid for the most part. They haven't been great, but they've been solid enough. Obviously, the overtime win against the Cowboys probably came down to a little bit of luck, but they still managed to shrink that, come back down, and then force it into overtime and get the job done. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Jags. But as we mentioned, that defense, I think there'll be a field goal. I think this game will be a field goal game. I'm going to go with something like probably a 17-20.
Oh, okay, nice. Dude, I'm going to do it. I'm going to tip the New York Jets to break their losing streak. What were the odds? I think they were about $1.90, $1.93, you said, outsiders?
$1.93, yep.
Yeah, and look, if it wasn't for the Dallas Cowboys choking that lead, if it wasn't for luck, with the ball just falling into the hands of the Jaguars, they don't win that, obviously, but, it is what it is. They won. You make your own luck. But against this New York Jets, bro, they don't afford a hell of a lot of luck, bro. And I think what's his name is escaping me, the quarterback for the New York Jets, mate. He's escaping me, but it's not Mike White.
It's not Mike White. It's
Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson. It's arguably his biggest game of his career, bro. So I'm going to tip the New York Jets in a thriller. I think they're going to win it through their defense, and I like that scoreline of 20-17. I'll go something similar. I'll probably go, or maybe a 17-14. I think Jaguars will score a touchdown or two, but I'll go the New York Jets, man. 1-12, bro, in a thriller that will keep their wild card playoff hopes well and truly alive, bro. So let's move on to the next game. And this is pretty big in a couple of different ways. The Carolina Panthers are hosting the Detroit Lions. What are the odds for this one, man?
The Lions, who are on fire, red hot fire, go into this game as $1.65 favourites heading down to Carolina. Carolina are $2.24 for this game, and the handicap is pretty much at a field goal. It is 2.5. So just for those who are punting, just so they understand, if you took the Detroit Lions -2 and they win by 2, you would not win. You would have to take them to win by that 3 or more, a field goal as such.
Yeah, man. The one and only stat that means anything coming into this game is that Detroit have their last victory in Carolina was all the way back in 1999, man. So she's been a couple of decades since they've traveled to Carolina and won. The Panthers, conversely, bro, their defense is what's keeping their season alive. A couple of weeks ago or a month ago, I said that they were probably worse than the Houston Texans, but they've offloaded some dead wood and they have improved sort of out of nowhere. And sort of out of nowhere, they're alive as so far as pinching their division, bro. They're only one win behind. Everybody else in that division is only one win behind the Bucs. So there's a lot on the line for the Carolina Panthers in this game, more so for the Detroit Lions, bro. I think the Detroit Lions attack, I think their momentum is going to get them over the line, but I don't think it will be 13+. I'm going to go 1-12 Detroit Lions.
I'm going to go the opposite of you, Sam. I really like the Detroit Lions. Ever since that game against the Buffalo Bills where they lost it, they've just been riding a bit of momentum and getting the job done against teams. So, look, I actually think this will be a blowout. I'm going to go with Detroit to win 28-10.
Nice, man. Okay. All right. They're going to get their first win, according to us, since 1999 in Carolina, Detroit Lions. Now, let's go on to a battle of the birds. The Baltimore Ravens are hosting the Atlanta Falcons on Saturday in America, Christmas Eve. What are the odds for this one, House?
So the Atlanta Falcons are $3.90 going into this one, with the Baltimore Ravens at $1.26. Do you have the injury news on our Ravens quarterback there, Sam?
Lamar Jackson, bro, he is very likely to return in this contest. He has been out for a few weeks, but he does look likely to return. I reckon if he's only even at 97%, you still rest him just that extra week to make sure he's 100%. The Atlanta Falcons have never beaten Baltimore in Baltimore. So Atlanta Falcons, they have done better than what a lot of people projected them to go this season. But I think even if Lamar Jackson didn't return, I'd still go with the Baltimore Ravens to get the job done, 1-12 over the Falcons' house.
I'll tell you what, the Ravens obviously coming off a loss last week without Lamar Jackson, and I think they'll win this game, I'll say that, but they really haven't impressed me. If anybody thinks that the Ravens can go on any type of run to the Super Bowl or even to the championship game, you are dreaming. They have been, for the most part, a pretty bad team. They started off the year fairly well, but their attack is poor, even when they're winning those games. So look, I'm going to go with the Ravens here, but I'm actually going to take the Falcons to cover 7. I think this game will be by less than 7. I'm going to tip the Ravens by 6 because I truly think that, look, if Lamar plays, it could be that score, but I'm going to take the Ravens by 6.
Fair enough, man. Even with Lamar Jackson, they haven't been convincing, have they, bro? Not at all, man. Yes.
And then again, it's been a long time since J.K. Dobbins got to play with Lamar Jackson as well. They are starting to become that more complete team. So watch me eat my words when the Ravens beat the Falcons by 12.
Yes, man. Now, we'll move on to the next contest now. The Cleveland Browns are going to be hosting the New Orleans Saints, man. What are the odds for this one?
I'm just trying to find this one now. We've got the New Orleans Saints coming off a win last week against against the Falcons. They are underdogs going into this one at $2.20, and the Browns are $1.64 after beating the Ravens.
The Cleveland Browns, man, they've been a plucky team. They've been, I don't know, they've sort of caused a bit of misery on their own by signing Deshaun Watson and going with a second, third string quarterback for over half the season, man. But they're still really talented individuals in amongst that offensive line, bro. And it's very small, but there's still a flicker of hope that they can make the playoffs, but so much has to go right for them. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints have been one of the ugliest teams to watch, have been one of the most inconsistent teams in all of NFL this season. And they're one of the teams, one of 4 maybe, that I just can't ever seem to get a grasp on, bro, because I didn't tip them to beat the Falcons last weekend, but alas, they got up. I'm going to tip the Cleveland Browns in this one, bro, and I don't know 1-12 or 13 plus. I do think the Saints can hold them at base, so I'll play it safe, and I'll go to the Cleveland Browns 1-12.
So the Cleveland Browns, obviously, ever since that win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they won by 6, they've been riding a bit of momentum with the win against the Ravens, win against the Texans, lost to the Bengals. So like the Saints, they're inconsistent, but you mentioned that glimmer of hope. It is in Cleveland, so they go in as favourites. But I'm actually going to tip the Saints here. I know they're a very inconsistent team, but I think they can get the job done. And I think picking a bit of an underdog this week, I think this is one that I would heavily back. So, yeah, $2.25. I like the New Orleans Saints to beat the Browns. Look, I think it'll be a close-ish game. Probably once again, I'll go by 6.
Okay, no worries. Let's move on to the next contest. And from Gillette Stadium, the New England Patriots are hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, man. Do you have the odds there for this one?
Just trying to find them again now. Some of these seem to be disappearing. Here we go. The Bengals are $1.50 riding this momentum right now, and the Patriots going as underdogs at $2.52 at home.
Is that the craziest finish to a game that you've ever seen?
It was pretty mental, wasn't it, against the Raiders the other day?
Oh, man. We know a bloke called, well, you all should know as well, Nick from Australia. He goes for the Patriots, and I hear that he punched a hole through the wall when he saw Myers run away with the touchdown, bro. As everybody has said, and I don't mean to leech, but it's if it's true, I can't help but repeat myself. Or repeat what's been said. For a team that's been coached by Bill Belichick for decades now, that's been known as, straight down the middle, no bullshit. For them to now be famous or infamous for that play last weekend against the Raiders, bro, it just beggars belief, man. Of all the teams to do something like that, not in a million years, I would have chosen the Patriots to come up with a boneheaded play like that, as Rich Eisen would say on his show.
Yeah, they're a very different team, the New England Patriots. I don't know if they're cocky, but I think maybe they still have too much belief in themselves and they're not playing simple. They're still trying to play that spectacular play to get wins. But then again, Bill Belichick is such a good coach, so they're really hard to talk shit about, you know?
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, definitely, dude. Cincinnati Bengals, they were down 17-3 or 20 points to 3 at halftime against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they had an ultra impressive second half against the Bucs, bro. They were so good last weekend in that second half.
They are chasing 7 straight wins after their loss in Week 8 to the Cleveland Browns, which I think the Browns were paying $4 in that game as well. It's a huge upset. The bookies have this one at more than a field goal. They have the Bengals -3. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. This is crazy, but I think the winner, and it's a spoiler for a couple of weeks away, I think the winner of the Bengals versus Bills game in 2 weeks is the winner of the AFC. And in saying that, I think the Bengals win this game and win it well. I think they'll win 13 plus. I think they'll probably win this game by about 17. Are they coming for that AFC? Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, dude, they're coming very, very hard, mate. I still want to see them completely blow out a side. I don't think it's going to be against the Patriots, but I do think they'll get a nice 13 plus points victory. I think something to the tune of, as you mentioned, a scoreline before, like a 27 points to 10 or something like that to that nature, or a 31 points to 10 scoreline, bro. So I still want to see them have 4 full quarters of footy, Cincinnati, before I'm like, they're going to be playing in that AFC Championship game, bro. But Joe Burrow, man, he just keeps going from strength to strength. And I think this is going to be a nice win for the Cincinnati Bengals, bro. Let's move on to the next game. And honest to goodness, this is one of those games I have no idea what could happen, bro. Such is the form of both of these sides. The Tennessee Titans are going to be hosting the Houston Texans in an AFC South divisional rival matchup, bro. And the Houston Texans over the past couple of seasons have been the bogey side for the Titans, bro. No matter what kind of form the Titans have been in, the Texans have been able to nab them. What are the odds for this one, House?
So the Texans are almost $3 in this game. They are $2.96 with the handicap at 5.5, and the Tennessee Titans at home are $1.40 favourites for this one.
Oh, mate, we've got electrical dust in the chat that's going to go Texans 1-13 over the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee, man. I don't know if I'm brave enough to go that far. I chose the New York Jets to beat the Jaguars, but I don't know if I'm brave enough to go Texans over Titans, bro. I think this will be a get-right game for the Titans, but I have said this entire season that the Texans they at times have played better than their record indicates, man. And they've taken the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs to the extreme over the past fortnight, bro. But I am going to tip the Tennessee Titans. I don't think it'll be 13 plus. It will be 1-12. But the Titans, they are in such ordinary form, bro. They have gone from here to there to here, and now they're back down here, man. So Titans, man, they've only got a couple of weeks to get things right, and I think this could be a potentially nice game for them to get back on track.
The bookies seem to have this one right in the total points. It seems like a game where either team doesn't have too much attack. And the total has been set at 37, which is a fairly low but good total. So my best bet for this game would probably be the unders. I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans to win by a touchdown. I'm going to go 14-7. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. It's going to be a 7-point game. There's going to be 2 touchdowns to the Tennessee Titans and 1 to... I'm going to say there's no field goals in this game. No field goal to be kicked in this game.
Clip it. But, dude, I actually like that, man, because it was almost similar to the Los Angeles Chargers game last week. I think that's actually a really good tip, bro, for sure. Let's move on to the next game now, and this is one of the bigger games of the weekend. The Minnesota Vikings are hosting the New York Giants from US Bank Stadium, and the New York Giants record in Minnesota is not well at all. The last time that the Giants beat the Vikings in Minneapolis was in 2010, and there have been a handful of games in between since then that the Vikings do have the record over the top of the Giants, man. What are the odds for this one, man?
So the Giants go in as underdogs at $2.46 and the Minnesota Vikings $1.55. I'll mention this because it's interesting. The bookies have this game as a field goal because normally the favourite team covers the handicap. Now, they have the Vikings at minus 3.5, but that's actually paying $2 compared to the Giants to keep within 3 points at $1.70.
Oh, now, the Minnesota Vikings, man, I don't believe in them. I don't believe the hype, but I didn't believe the hype about South Sydney in 2021 for NRL fans. I didn't quite believe in the Parramatta Eels at stages in 2022 for NRL fans once more. But they had some magic about them where they won more games than what they should have or should not have. The same thing's happening with the Vikings. So I'm not saying that they could do it, but I've been wrong about a couple of teams in the NRL, and they've gone on a really big run. The Vikings seem to be fitting into that category, bro. Do you think, am I being maybe a little bit too overdramatic, or do you think I'm overthinking it too much, or are you flat out Vikings are, they're nothing this year?
Well, I feel like they're still unproven. I feel like I can't say that they're contenders, even though they pulled off the biggest comeback in NFL history. But I feel like I can't say they're pretenders either, just due to some of the teams they've beaten. I believe they beat the Bills, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they did, 33-30 in week 10. They also beat Miami. I know Miami aren't that talked about, but I think Miami is still kind of a dark horse slightly this season. And then that red-hot Detroit team that we've seen, obviously in early weeks they weren't great, but Minnesota beat them 28-24. So that kind of shows that they could contain their attacks. So, yeah, Minnesota are a really interesting team, but they are currently sitting in fourth in the whole NFL ladder. So, look, I think that $2 for Minnesota to win by more than 3 is a good price. And that's what I think they'll do. I think it'll be a tight game, but I feel like maybe Vikings by Vikings by 9.
Yeah.
I'll go Vikings by 9. But I like what I've seen from the Giants this season. I know it's been hot and cold. They're currently sitting in 9th. I don't think anyone expected that. And they've only won 1 of their last 5 games as well. But, yeah, they've come pretty well for the most part.
Oh, dude, the Giants, look, if they didn't have the casualty ward that they've got at the moment, bro, they might even be better than their record currently stands at the moment. And I do think, like yourself, that they're going to give Vikings all sorts of curry, bro. I would not be surprised if they win, because I think the amount of emotion, the amount of energy that was expelled by the Vikings last weekend in that remarkable comeback could come back and bite them this weekend, bro, and give them an upset loss. But I think the Vikings, and I do think the Vikings do have one more loss coming their way before the regular season is out. So I'm going to tip the Vikings to the tune of, look, I think they'll score some points. I think the Giants will as well. It's something like a 20 points to 10 scoreline or something to that effect. But I do think Giants are going to be in this game massively. But I think the Vikings will get this one done 1-12. Have you got anything else on this game, bro?
No, that's it.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. And from Soldier Field, we've got the Chicago Bears hosting the Buffalo Bills in this contest. And I think the Chicago Bears, man, have improved so much since the first opening rounds were done. Justin Fields is the future for this club or franchise, as it should be. But I think the Buffalo Bills, man, are going to come into town. And I think they're going to put their foot down and win this one by 13 plus, bro. I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. You mentioned Justin Fields, who's had a fairly good season for the most part. The line is set at 8.5. And look, I think this could be a really, really big blowout. I just have a feeling that even though they got the job done last week, the Bills will be very disappointed with this game. I think it'll be a big statement, not beating the Bears, but just going on the road and putting on a big score line. So, look, I reckon this will be like a 35-12, something like that.
House has got them going very close to 40 points. Oh,
Yeah.
man. But look, respect to the Bears, though. They did take Philadelphia Eagles to the edge a couple of days ago. So let's move on to the next game. And this is one of the last games of Christmas Eve on the Saturday. We've got the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Washington Commanders. And I've got the odds here, House, for this game. Just bear with me. We've got the San Francisco 49ers at $1.28. And the Washington Commanders are $3.73 outsiders. And that's on sportsbet.com.au. Houseman, do you think those odds are fair enough at Commanders being $3.73?
I would have had the Commanders a little bit lower. Maybe about $3 would have been fair. I think they're being slept on. I think that the 49ers will probably win this game, but I would not be surprised if there's an upset here, and I kind of want to tip it. I think that the 49ers are due a loss. They're dead set a team that could just keep winning games all the way to the Super Bowl and be undefeated for the rest of the season. But there's been a few slip-up moments, even though they've gotten the wins where, look, I think the Commanders are so hot and cold, but they haven't been horrible this season. I guess they've been bad, but they've been okay. So, look, I'll go the 49ers here, but I think this game will be tight. So I will go the 49ers by about 10. I think they'll win by less than 13.
Oh, man. Look, Commanders let me down, bro, last weekend, albeit the Giants, man, are close to being a bogey side for the Commanders. I don't think the San Francisco 49ers could be hardly more impressive right now, especially the fact that they've got a rookie in at the quarterback slot right now. But in saying that, though, they won 21 points to 13 against the Seahawks. And I don't know, man. There are some weeks where that attack should be winning by 50 points, bro, and they only win by the odd 13 points or hereabouts, man. So whilst they've got superstar after superstar in that offensive line, and I recognize that Deebo Samuel is out with injury at the moment. I just think that I'm still, besides the Arizona Cardinals game and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I still want to see it just one more time before finals come about. But and I think it could happen again, man. I think this one's going to be a massive blowout. I'm opposite to you in this. I think they're gonna crush the Commanders in this game, man. I think it will be like a 35 points to 7. I think their defense won't allow more than one touchdown in this game, bro.
Just want to mention in the chat, National Sports Loaded says Commanders might do an upset just like they did against the Eagles, and Electrical Dust says that his tip Commanders by 1 to 30.
What? Are you fair?
I think the Niners win, but I really do think that they win by less than 13.
Yeah, dude. Well, everyone's got. Well, there's an energy about the Commanders that I'm just not picking up. Then, wow, then. All right, then. Well, cheers NSL and Electrical Dust for making me look like a bit of a nuffy potentially by the end of the weekend. So, all right then. But that's interesting. I'll come back at you and bite. Or you can bite me, as it were. That's interesting now, bro. Now, speaking of interesting, this is, for me, I think in your opinion too, House, the following game is absolutely the game of the weekend. Coming to us from AT&T Stadium in Texas, the Philadelphia Eagles are traveling to Dallas to take on them Cowboys, bro. Do you have the odds there for the Cowboys versus the Eagles?
I do have the odds, and the odds are the Eagles outsiders at $2.76, and the Dallas Cowboys at home favourites at $1.45. Even crazier, it's not a field goal game. They have the Dallas Cowboys -5 at the line, so they expect them to win by 5 or more.
Oh man, even right now, I am struggling to decipher what's going to happen in this game, House.
I hate this game. Now, the reason I hate this game is because just a few weeks ago, you had the Minnesota Vikings paying $3 in that red-hot form against the Dallas Cowboys, And Dallas Cowboys were favourites. And what did they do? They absolutely blew them out of the water. And here's another game that's like that, where the Dallas Cowboys don't deserve to be favourites once again at home. Jalen Hurts is in doubt, but the Eagles just have so much strike weapons across the field. We've seen how good they've been this season. They're riding that momentum. So I feel like an idiot when I tip the Eagles and Dallas win, because the same thing happened just a couple of weeks ago. And this line is huge for this team. For the Eagles to be plus 4.5 and paying $1.95 to cover that, that is huge odds, even not to take them to win. So look, I'm going to tip the Eagles. I think they'll win. I think they'll show that they can win without Hurts, because I feel like he may not play. And I'm going to play it safe and say that they win by 7. I'm going to play it safe. I don't think they win 13 plus, especially with Dallas being at home. But I tell you what, I hate this game.
Wow, man. No, I can't blame you. I can't believe the odds either. I know, and for me personally, in my opinion, I don't think Jalen Hurts will play this game, man. Absolutely not, bro. It's a shoulder injury, I believe it is. But the Dallas Cowboys, a question without notice. The Dallas Cowboys, bro, for the longest time this season, I think everyone has been giving them the benefit of the doubt, thinking that they're not going to just fall into a spiral, fall into a heap. They're not going to be that same old Cowboys team that's been around for the past few seasons. I think over the past 2 to 3 weeks, man, we're starting to see them sort of come into a mid-season slump. And now the fear in the back of my mind is, can they get themselves out of it? And they've now got to take on the best team in the NFL, albeit without Jalen Hurts up in the opposing lineup, bro. Do you think the Cowboys, this is just a mid-season slump that they can get out of, or do you think that there's a real danger sign here for the Cowboys season?
I think there's danger signs to the Cowboys season. I think they're probably looking at the fact that Jalen Hurts probably doesn't play, and they're thinking, you know what, we got this. We're sitting in 7th. We can move up higher. But you just mentioned that slump, and you look at their results in recent weeks. Besides that, that blowout. Well, they had the 2 blowouts. They had Minnesota and the Colts, but the Colts game was very close, and the Colts were just absolutely awful. But beating the Texans 23-27 when it was all Texans. It was all Houston in that game. It was close. It was back and forth, but it was Texans' game to lose, and they did that in typical Houston fashion. And then that game in overtime against Jacksonville, they lost 40-34. So they're heading back home. They're going to be angry with it, but they're in a big slump, and their season's on the line this game. This is a big game in that sense. It's making me more excited for the game now, thinking about that.
Yeah, man, it's a blockbuster, this contest. Now, there's just another stat here that does go in favor of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, these two sides are divisional rivals. So they play each other twice a year. Philadelphia goes down every single year to Dallas. They haven't won in Dallas since 2017, the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're going into this contest without Jalen Hurts. And the talk is that Gardner Minshew is going to be that quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, man. Now, in their previous encounter earlier this year, they did the Cowboys traveled to Philadelphia and they lost by about 8 points or so. They were able to score a couple of touchdowns as well. But Dak Prescott did not play in that game. It was Cooper Rush that was the Cowboys quarterback on that instance, man. So these two sides have met twice this year, and both of their starting quarterbacks aren't going to be present in Prescott, in a Dak Prescott versus Jalen Hurts matchup, man, which is unfortunate though. But we could see it come playoff times, especially when we're talking about NFC Championship games as well, bro. I just think the market is too juicy. It's way too juicy on the Philadelphia Eagles to pass up. Minshew is a good quarterback. Yeah, he's second string, but I think he can get the job done with all the artillery that is still going to be surrounding him this weekend. The Cowboys are in a form slump, but I do still think at the moment I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, saying that I think that they can get out of the slump and go deep into the playoffs, bro, potentially, as I said before, NFC Championship. But the Philadelphia Eagles have only been, besides the win against the Titans recently, they've only been just getting over the line, like last weekend against the Chicago Bears. So I'm going to go the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one 1-13, bro. I think this is going to be an amazing game of footy, bro, and I think the crowd will be immense out there at A&T Stadium. So what's your tip on this one again, bro?
I'm going to go with the Eagles by a touchdown.
Just a touchdown. Oh man, this is a massive game, and this is the game of the weekend, man. So just before I go on, I just want to reiterate that National Sports Loaded. I think the Dallas Cowboys is his team as well. Cowboys very inconsistent, but back at home, this will be a cracker. Electrical Dust says Cowboys 1-13. Weird to see the Eagles at outsiders. Those odds are indeed crazy, old mate. National Sports Loaded also says it's also crazy that Cows are faves since they nearly lost to the Texans and just lost to Jacksonville as well, man. So it's going to be a cracker, as our National Sports Loaded said. Can't wait to see what happens. Now, this is the final game on Christmas Eve night. The Pittsburgh Steelers are hosting the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'll do this one here. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers at $1.62 favorites. The Las Vegas Raiders are $2.30 outsiders in house. I reckon $2.30 outsiders about the Raiders. That's pretty nice value on them, bro, because while they are terribly inconsistent, they are so hard to get a hold of. We know that they can score some points, bro, and Pittsburgh Steelers, their defense is probably a bit better. Well, I think it is better than the Las Vegas Raiders. What's your take on this contest, bro?
Yeah, it's very juicy odds for the Raiders there, $2.30. And then the Steelers, obviously being at home, they play much better at home, and the Raiders having to travel there probably gives them that disadvantage. The Steelers coming off a great win last week, and then the Raiders, obviously, just well, how do we describe it? We spoke about it before. Absolutely crazy ending to a game. But, mate, I think the Steelers win this one. And I think everyone will be back in the Raiders. I think everyone will be back in the Raiders. And I think their season has been so weird, so inconsistent. And you're going to see just how bad their season can become when they lose this game. I do think it'll be tight, though. This could probably be a field goal game. That $2.30 could represent that 3 points. So I'll go Pittsburgh Steelers by 3. And as you mentioned, their defense, I think it's a bit better than the Raiders. But the Raiders offense, you mentioned they can score so many points. But I feel like not Philly. I feel like Pittsburgh can just stop them and get those turnovers, you know?
Yeah, they're a tougher team, Pittsburgh, than Las Vegas Raiders, bro. And I think if Pittsburgh, if Coach Mike Tomlin can get them to get into a bully mode, like bully the hell out of the Las Vegas Raiders, man, I think that they can mentally beat them as well. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers can win this one as well, bro. I hate tipping Las Vegas Raiders games, bro. I really hate it, bro. But I'm going to go the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Not with a whole lot of confidence. This is a lot closer than the odds indicate. But I'm going to go the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this one 1-12, man.
There you go.
All right, let's move on to the Christmas Day games. Now, this is all happening this Sunday. It's happening Sunday. And the very first game on Christmas Day is the Miami Dolphins versus the Green Bay Packers. And a couple of weeks ago, man, I think a lot of people would have looked at this game and thought, it's a little bit one-sided. But I think the Green Bay Packers have found just a little bit of nice form to make this one a little bit more interesting than what it was a couple of weeks ago. What are the odds for this one, bro?
The Miami Dolphins at $1.46, the Green Bay Packers at $2.73. And interesting about this one is the Packers have obviously won their last 2 games, whereas Miami have lost 3 of their last 5 games.
Yeah, man. But their performance against the Buffalo Bills this past weekend was very impressive. The Bills had to slot that field goal right at the end of regulation time. I think the Miami Dolphins will get this job done. I think they'll get their season back on track, keep their playoff hopes alive, and they'll only win this one 1-12. I do think Green Bay Packers will offer a fair chunk of resistance in this contest.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a scoreline of 23 to 17, and that is in favor of the Miami Dolphins. They, for me, are still a little bit of dark horse. They really could go on a run like the Bengals. These losses could help them. Is it going to happen? Probably not, but that would be the team that I would say just look out for. But the Packers coming off 2 wins, they're not at home here. They don't have that advantage. So, yeah, I think Miami will win on Boxing Day or Christmas Day.
Yes.
You
Yes,
both.
sir. And yes, a little bit of both. Yes, exactly, mate. Now, we've now if at the start of the season, when the NFL schedule organisers made up the Christmas Day slots, they thought we got this right, guys. We're going to give the NFL audience exactly what they want. Well, Merry freaking Christmas, everyone, because we got the Los Angeles Rams hosting the Denver Broncos at SoFi Stadium. Yuck. Yuck. That's as nice as I can put that, man. What are the odds for what will be an absolute beauty between these two, right?
So Denver are favourites heading to SoFi at $1.68, and the Rams are paying $2.19. And I just want to check because the Rams, just for a little juicy tip, the Rams have covered the line in 6 of their last 7 games in the month of December. And the line is +2. So if you like the Rams to win by any margin, or lose by 2, or lose by 1, you would be a winner and you'd be getting $1.93. So, look, Denver are coming off a win. They're coming off a win last week against the Arizona Cardinals. They're playing much better without Russell Wilson as well, arguably. But I think the Rams will win this game. I think the Rams will win this game. I think they've been pretty poor this season. They're right down the bottom. No one expected this. They've been the surprise pack of the season for the wrong reasons. But a couple of weeks ago, Baker Mayfield threw a touchdown to win the game. I actually think the Rams will win this by a nice margin too. I think the Rams will use their running backs. I think it'll be more of a rushing game than a passing game, and I think they'll be getting a lot of first downs and then maybe kicking field goals off them, to be honest. So I'm going to go with the Rams by about 10 here.
Oh, man. Now you've got me doubting the tip, bro, because I think Russell Wilson is playing in this game this weekend. I'm pretty certain he will. The Rams have nobody, though. They've still got their running back in Akers or Eckler. One of the two. I always get Akers and Eckler always mixed up, bro. But Baker Mayfield. They got held down last week in Green Bay. Denver Broncos, they're not in good form, but much better form than what was presented to us all earlier this season. They're scoring some points. I'm going to go the Denver Broncos, man. I'm going to go Denver Broncos to win this one 1-12, bro. But this is going to be an ugly game of footy, mate.
Yeah.
Dude, it will, man. And this one at the moment doesn't fare too much better as well. This is the primetime game on Christmas Day or Boxing Day here in Australia. It is the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a big red contest. What's the odds for this one, House?
So the Buccaneers head in as favourites to Arizona at $1.33 and covering a 6.5 line, and the Arizona Cardinals are $3.34 to bounce back from last week's loss against the Broncos.
Oh man, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Whilst it could be a bit of a battle, I do think that this is a game that Tom Brady's not going to lose. I just feel it in my bones that this isn't a game that the Bucs are going to drop against the Arizona Cardinals, especially if Kyler Murray, again, I reiterate, has done his ACL and is out for the rest of the year. So I'm going to go the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this one 1-13 in what won't be a pretty game of footy, bro.
I think this will be a high-scoring game. So I really like the $1.95 that you're getting for over 41 points. And you know what? I'm gonna have a nibble at the $3 of Tampa Bay 14+. I think Tampa Bay haven't been great, but as you mentioned, I think this is one of those games that Tom Brady will just go, you know what? So look, I'll go Tom Brady to have 2 touchdowns and over 41 points.
Okay, well, there you go. Now, again, everybody, if you're just tuning in, this is the Christmas stream for the NFL, and please go and check out Entertain House's channel. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to him as well. There's a lot more NFL content coming your way on his channel as well. There's something special coming up in the next week or two on his channel, so keep an eye out for that. Now, going into the final game, man, it is the Indianapolis Colts versus the Los Angeles Chargers from Lucas Oil Stadium. What are the odds for this one, please, House?
So the Indianapolis Colts, who had that big lead and blew it, they are paying $2.63, and the Chargers, who are trying to go on a bit of a run at the moment, are paying $1.49.
House, man. I think while the Chargers they got the job done against Tennessee, they're only squeaking games by, bro. I got a feeling about the Indianapolis Colts, mate. They are scoring some points. They're staying competitive, and then they switch off. They fall asleep, and it's an absolute effing catastrophe, bro. Against the Dallas Cowboys, against the Minnesota Vikings, they're keeping it tight. They're scoring points, bro. 19 points and 33 points, respectively. The Los Angeles Chargers, meanwhile, bro, they're not scoring many. They're not allowing many at the same time, bro. So the only reason why I'm refraining from tipping the Colts is just their mental capacity, bro. If they can play 4 quarters, I actually give them a massive hope against the Los Angeles Chargers in this game, man. Am I on the wacky weed, bro, or do you agree?
It's a good tip. It's a good tip, man. But I'll tell you what, as you mentioned, the Chargers with their close games, you look at this. They won by 3 against Tennessee. They won by 1 against Arizona. They won by 7 against the Las Vegas Raiders and 3 against the Chiefs. So in the last 5 weeks, they have been very unconvincing. And $1.49 is a huge favorite price for an underdog away team as well. But
yep.
I think the Chargers will win. I think it will be tight. It's a freaking weird score, but I think the Chargers will win by 5. And I don't know why, but I feel like maybe they're going to convert a 2-pointer and then the field goal equals that 5. So I'm going to go the Chargers by 5.
Yeah, man, look, if Chargers win, it's not going to be by a lot, bro. If Colts win, it's not going to be by a lot as well. I think so. I think this is going to be a bit of I don't want to say thriller, but I think it's going to be a close game. I'm that close to tipping the Colts, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, bro. I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to go the Chargers 1 to 12, man.
Yep.
That's it. So that's a wrap up, bro. Thank you so much for joining me, mate. We've gone just a tick under an hour. Thank you to Electrical Dust, National Sports Loaded, CJ Moxley for staying consistent and watching the entire live stream. Thank you so much. I've had a lot of fun talking about it, and I know that again, it's such a busy time of year, and I'm really grateful that you're able to give up an hour of your time tonight to talk some footy with me, mate. Is there anything else coming up on your channel over the next couple of weeks, bro?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me. It's been absolutely fantastic. We had our round 1 chat, so I can't wait to towards the end of the season or even after the season get back on with you and Nick from Australia to see who got things right and who got things wrong. As for what's coming up, I've got some NFL content, as you mentioned, where I'll be opening up some NFL merchandise that'll be signed by some current and former players. Look, it does come from America, so it will take a while for that one. But it's coming. And then as for the NRL perspective, some kind of season review. And Mr. Luke Sports, who you guys might know, will be jumping on the channel for some jersey rankings in the new year. So looking forward to that one.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, Merry Christmas to you, Entertain House. Merry Christmas to everybody in the live chat. Thank you, man. And have a very happy new year, everybody. I'm glad I can get this live stream done just before this is the first real live stream that I've done, proper one, since I've moved up here to Queensland. So thank you very much, guys. Have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Adios.
Thank you.